Hey guys, I do believe I'm live now. Oops, that's the wrong, it's the wrong thing. All right, listen, I'm tired. Professor Bill will have the new Falcon and the original Falcon meeting. All right, so it'll be some kind of a one shot. I mean, like we know that all of them have pretty much met each other, right? But somehow this is all going to happen. The Hulk is going to wind up meeting the Bruce Banner Hulk is going to wind up meeting. What's his face, Amadeus Cho, and they're going to have some kind of a adventure mission together, whatever. It's going to be, all these things are going to be good. And Greg Pak, at least, that's why I'm mentioning the Totally Awesome Hulk one, he says these are not going to be one-shots that are going to mean nothing. They're actually going to impact the characters drastically. It's going to be permanent, lasting effects. Well, I don't know about permanent, but they're going to be lasting effects that will cross over and continue on in the series, the storylines. So everybody was wondering, like, for instance, well, the Hulk is dead, so what's going to happen? Is it going to be the Maestro? You know, because I personally thought that was going to be interesting if they did that. All of a sudden, the latest issue of Secret Wars, at the very end, there's a big reveal. The Hulk is back. Oh, crap. Bruce Banner, the Hulk is back. Now, comments, lots of comments. Is this the Ultimate Universe Hulk? Because that could be, well, just as easily explained, I guess, or just as difficultly explained, because he died too. But yeah, whatever, man. It could be our regular, because they did show a picture of the green Hulk in the back. The Ultimate's Hulk was gray. Big, mean, and gray. Not our Mr. Fix-It, our Joe Fix-It gray. Anyway, all these one-shots are going to lead to the following issue of said storylines being renumbered. So just like we had issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Venom, all of a sudden it jumped to issue number 150 of Venom. Now, it would have been good to have that as a legacy one-shot also, to have Eddie Brock meet that Lee guy, but whatever. Eddie Brock wound up taking it over again anyway, so it's no big loss. In the meantime, these are also going to wind up leading into other stories also. Excuse me. Right now we have All New Wolverine, issue number 25. All right, that's going to stay because that already was. And there's already been like 4 volumes, of Wolverine comics. So we'll see what happens there. In the meantime, they're going to have this storyline called Orphans of X. Now again, no speculation. All this just came out yesterday. This came out on Friday. So that would be Friday today's July 1st. So Friday, June 30th, right? So I don't know what all of these are going to turn into, but right now, Amazing Spider-Man is going back to its full numbering. So currently it's on issue number 29, just came out. I just reviewed it this week, in fact. It was a Secret Empire tie-in where Parker Industries in LA just got destroyed. Yeah, messed up, dude. So they're going to return, I don't know, this is supposed to be in about, within a couple of months. Amazing Spider-Man is supposed to revert to issue number 789. And the storyline is going to be called The Fall of Parker, which makes sense because the Superior Octopus is planning on absolutely ruining Peter Parker. Let me see if, anybody's live right now. Oh, geez, a couple people. Dick Fillmore, hey, what's up, buddy? He's going to smoke a bong before class starts. Now I see you. Good morning, Professor. Good morning, Dick. What's up? Geek Fortress, what's up, Lewis? Just got finished talking to you on FaceTime like a couple minutes ago. Lewis was actually supposed to be on this live stream, but he's got a barbecue at 11, and I had to delay this until 10:30. So, several reasons. Several reasons. Also, Wolf Warner, what's up, man? I think this is your first time on my live chat. Good to have you here, man. Okay, so Wolf Warner, huge Lunella Lafayette fan. So always good in my book. All right, so Amazing Spider-Man, this is actually a very interesting thing, not just the fall of Peter Parker, but more specifically the numbering. That's going to turn it to issue number 789. I forget exactly what issue the Fantastic Four stopped at before they put the kibosh on it, but that will mean that Amazing Spider-Man is now the longest running Marvel comic. That's actually, at least numbering-wise. Remember, Fantastic Four, when it first started off, the first 4 or 6, I think it was the 6 months, it was actually a bi-monthly comic. So that means, like, in June it would come out, and then August it would come out. Like it would skip a month in between. Yeah. So regardless of how long the comics had been coming out for, this renumbering will show that there's a higher number now for Amazing Spider-Man, and this is fine. I know a lot of people say, not too many people, I'm sure, he is the most popular character out there, and we're going to get into that in the psychology of Spider-Man in a couple minutes, maybe 15 minutes. But as far as Spider-Man, he is kind of the forefront of the Marvel Universe, right? When they first started going to direct sales, and I know. Just really quick history on this, because it's just coming to my mind that I should discuss this. Marvel originally, used to have the UPCs, the UPC barcodes on their comics. They still do once in a while. You will still find them every so often, because the comic book stores nowadays have the scanners for that, right? But originally, this was back in about the 70s, they did away with that because magazine sales. Comic books were always considered magazines. Now, during World War II, I might as well put in the description that I'm going to talk about this. During during the Great Depression, prior to World War II, in between World War I and World War II, there was the Great Depression. Now, book sales dropped. A lot of sales dropped, including food, because people couldn't afford it. If you ever wonder, if anybody outside of America or inside of America wonder why Americans are so obsessed with peanut butter and jelly, specifically grape jelly, not jam, jelly, is because the preservatives, they allowed the jelly to last a long time. Peanut butter always lasted a long time, and peanut butter and jelly and bread were fairly cheap to come across. So peanut butter and jelly wound up becoming a staple of the American diet during the Great Depression, and it just kind of stuck with us, me included. I love me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and believe me, that tradition passes on to my children. The point is that everything was just, tighten up the belt, because you couldn't afford anything. Pulling yourself up by your bootstraps was impossible because you couldn't afford bootstraps. So in order to get sales on books to continue, because most book companies were like, dude, I can buy 2 copies of the books. They're like, listen, here's the deal. The way that we'll do this is we will send you the standard amount of books, and any books that you don't sell after a little while, sell them back to us. It's not a big deal. We will repurchase them from you, okay? Just so that we can at least get them out there, and your bookstores will look full, and hopefully more people will buy the books than you're expecting are going to buy. You can't afford to sell those, but if you don't have them in display, you can't sell them at all. So, and that worked. That worked really well, and that was a permanent deal that still lasts to this day. So that's the reason why you'll see so many books in the dollar store, because a lot of times they'll be like, listen, here you go, we'll sell them to you instead. The distributors trying to get resales like that. On top of that, it's one of the reasons why back in the day, my grandparents and my grandparently neighbors, when I was a kid, used to give me comic books, like stacks of comic books, without covers on top of them. Why? Because only the UPC had to go back. Literally, if you sent all of the magazines, like if you're talking about books and magazines and things like that, that's a lot of weight, so that's a lot of money in shipping. So in order to save prices on that, it was an honor system where they said, listen, just send us back the magazine covers. You know what I'm saying? They would have said just cut out the UPCs, but nobody was going to do that. It's like just rip off the magazine covers, send them back to us. And again, comic books were considered magazines. So they said, send these back to us, just that, and then just throw away. Please, throw away. You're not allowed to sell those magazines without the covers on top. You will actually get in trouble for that. So instead they wound up selling them anyways, or they gave them to friends and, whatever, or they just throw them in the garbage standard. People come up and say, oh, look, comic books, so that's the way that we were able to get so many of those coverless comic books. So anyway, with all that, why did I get into that in the first place? You see how tired I am? So anyway, Amazing Spider-Man, it had something to do with each other. This is how tired I am. Okay. Okay, you know what? I don't even care. If I remember it, I'll remember it. In the meantime, the Fantastic Four, when they first came out, they were, the premier Marvel magazine. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, they were just a rip-off of the Justice League. Yeah, sure, they were. And then Doom Patrol ripped off them. And then X-Men ripped off them. And then, everybody rips off each other. There's so many rip-offs in comic books. Just, for real, let it go. Plus, at the same time, most of these people were friends with each other. The only person who wasn't being friendly at the time was Detective Comics. Not even National Comics, was actually... Yes, it would be just a fold of Detective Comics. Actually, National Comics and Detective Comics had merged by the time that the Captain Marvel debacle had come out. Nobody had, for the most part, really sued anybody for close facsimile of their superheroes at the time until that came out, and that was a huge betrayal of the comic book industry at the time. So that's, yeah. Somebody just mentioned that also. It's like, oh, if Marvel's going to keep playing hardball with the Captain Marvel name, it's earned. It's earned. That doesn't change. That never gets to change. But anyway, Fantastic Four, yes, it was the premiere. A lot of people say that, Spotlight issue number 4, which was the first appearance of Barry Allen Flash, was the Kickstarter for the Silver Age of comics. Yes, in many ways it was. But the thing that it could be argued just as easily, though, that the Fantastic Four issue number 1 was the Kickstarter for the Silver Age. So there's no set in stone, when that happened. But regardless, yes, when Fantastic Four came out, that was a big deal. So a lot of people could say, I'm really upset. It's a shame that Fox is playing hardball the way that they are with not giving the rights back to Marvel for the Fantastic Four. At least keep the X-Men, but give back the rights to Fantastic Four. Brother, I'm in that same exact boat. The exact same boat. The thing is, as far as like the numbering, if you're saying like, Spider-Man shouldn't go past the numbering, that's really messed up. It could also be argued that Captain America, right? Because Captain America comics, that was in World War II, that was the big thing that put Timely and Atlas Comics and Marvel Comics, they're all the same thing, on the map, in the first place. But at the same time, we can go back even further to the original Human Torch, the android, made by Phineas Horton. And we could talk about his nemesis, who was the first character. You can't say the first superhero. The first character, Marvel's first character, was a bad guy, Prince Namor, the Submariner, currently King Namor, who has a really excellent story in Jean Grey issue number 3 or 4. I think it's issue 4. Either way, it's in one of those issues. Whatever just came out this week. Really good stuff. All right, so yes, right now, Amazing Spider-Man is about to be the highest numbered comic in Marvel, and I don't see that changing literally ever. I never see that changing. So, hey, I think it's kind of what they were looking for. Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows is going to switch up. America is going to change up. I like her. I like her character. I don't see why this has anything to do with legacy necessarily. Astonishing X-Men. So that's how I know that this is going to be a while, because we don't have an Astonishing X-Men comic currently. I believe that's coming out sometime this month in July. I think this coming Wednesday should be it, but don't quote me, please. But Astonishing X-Men issue number 7 is going to start this off. So now if that's going to be, I hope that's going to be bi-weekly, but it might be monthly. Either way, shouldn't be. Actually, it should probably be monthly, because I'm seeing over here Avengers and Ben Reilly the Scarlet Spider. Issue 4 of Ben Reilly the Scarlet Spider just came out. I still have to put out the review. Somebody just yelled at me. I did the review. I just didn't edit the review. I'm one guy, and a lot of good comics came out this month. A whole lot of good comics. In fact, even comics that I don't usually review that I still read, somebody found out that I read Aquaman. They're like, whoa, you need to do reviews for Aquaman, dude. Not cool. I'm like, all right, fine. They just started a new storyline. I guess it's a good jumping in point. So anyway, Scarlet Spider, issue number 10, and since 4 just came out, that sounds about right. So a couple months in advance. Here's something that I'm actually really happy with. 2 things I'm actually happy with. Okay, several things I'm happy with. Look, Black Panther, first off, is going to go to issue number 166. That's actually really cool, and it's going to be called Claw Stand Supreme. Black Panther, currently they're dealing with magic sigils opening doorways in the comics. Yes, I'm reading that comic. I just don't I don't review the comic. It's too many things to review, because I heavily edit my stuff, like I put all the pictures up and I have to find them. Sometimes they don't have reviews for comics online, for certain comics online, so I can't find pictures for them, and I'm not going to scan my own comics and put them up, because I think that would be illegal. I don't know, unless Marvel comes up and says, hey, Bill, you're cool. And if Marvel says that, I'll say thank you. 2, call me Professor. I'm joking. But, kind of. Marvel should call me Professor. So, Black Panther will go to issue number 166. I'm actually happy with that. And that's got to have been hard to do, because Black Panther has mostly only had several small storylines here and there, literally limited series where they said, we're going to put this out for 4 issues, we're going to put this one out for 4 issues, we're going to put this one out for 6 issues. So the fact that they were able to count out all of these and put them together, that's pretty cool. And if anybody were going to find a numbering that they did wrong, Black Panther would probably be the one that they were to say, actually should have been issue number 168, because literally I could see that one being the one that they mess up on. Cable is going to go to issue 150. Guys, no joke right here. If you're looking to collect something that is going to probably wind up being worth a lot of money, even if it's a crappy storyline, Cable issue number 150 would probably be it, especially since they're calling it the Newer Mutants. Anybody who knows anything about the New Mutants and X-Force and Cable storylines, you know why that's relevant. So Cable number 150, that will be a quick collector. Also, Captain Marvel is going to issue number 125. That also may very well be a collector. So very happy with that. I'm curious, Champions is going to issue number 13. There used to be a Champions in the back with Angel and Ghost Rider and all them, so I don't know why that didn't. Daredevil is going to issue 595. That is sexy cool because that means 5 months after that, you know that we're going to have an issue number 600. That's going to be an awesome inaugural anniversary issue, and I'm going to be digging that. I'm going to be digging that a lot. Defenders is also another one because Hulk, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and Prince Namor were the original Defenders. Luke Cage was a Defender for like literally an issue. I think it was 1 issue, and he was like, "Yeah, no, he's not in the league with those 4 characters. He's nowhere near the league with those 4 characters." They tried to show that he was in Age of Ultron, the original storyline, but that didn't last very long. Anyway, so Defenders, it's going to be with issue number 6. Deadpool, this is interesting. Deadpool is going to issue number 287, and they're going to call it the Despicable Deadpool. And the first storyline is Deadpool kills Cable. I don't know how they're going to do this, but you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to be good. So Despicable Deadpool, issue number 287. Deadpool kills Cable. And I could see why they would call the Despicable Deadpool. Like, seriously, a lot of people who are following the Secret Empire storyline or the current storyline with Deadpool with the Secret Empire tie-ins, you know exactly why that's going to fit. And he's probably going to call himself the Despicable Deadpool. And I think that is absolutely gorgeous. Which, speaking of Secret Empire, I guess that means it makes sense now. This is all going to happen as the resolution of Secret Empire. Okay, like I said, I'm tired. Guardians of the Galaxy is bumping up with Infinity Quest, and it's going to issue number 146. So that means they're going to count the original Guardians of the Galaxy too, long before Star-Lord ever came along. Generation X is bumping to 85. That's cool in and of itself, but I don't actually like the Generation X comic right now. Everything is just mouth and teeth. Like, that's all that they're doing in the comic is showing teeth, and I can't even pay attention to the story because of how lousy it is seeing people's teeth all the time. Doctor Strange is bumping up to 381. Falcon is going to get an issue number 1. Here's the curious thing about this. Are they going to have the new Falcon, or are they going to have the current Sam Wilson who's going to go back to becoming the Falcon? I don't know. Whole bunch of different issues. The Incredible Hulk is going up to issue 708. Very cool. Very sad that they didn't get an issue 700, but whatever. And it's going to be Return to Planet Hulk. Interesting. Thought that was destroyed. Held together by... Anyway. Iron Fist is going up to number 73. Yeah, believe it or not, with all the Iron Fists that have come out and all the appearances, he's always been in other people's comics. Once his own comic canceled, he'd have a couple of limited series like the Living Weapon stuff and all that, but and the Immortal. Oh God, the Immortal, such good stuff. But he's only going up to issue number 73 there, and it's going to be called Sabretooth, Round 2. Just off of memory, the original comic only went to issue number 15, I believe, or maybe it went to 16. I forget. Anyway, issue 15 had the X-Men first time returning from the moon after the Jean Grey incident. That was the one time that Wolverine had that old costume from the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. And but the issue before that, issue number 14, is the most famous Iron Fist issue, more important than issue number 1. I think it was issue 4 or 8 that had him fighting Iron Man. None of those mattered. Issue 14 was the first appearance of Sabretooth. So, Sabretooth, Round 2, this one's going to be called. That's awesome. The front cover of that was amazing. You're snowblind, hero. And Sabretooth just tearing him up. Yes, very cool. So Jessica Jones is staying at issue number 13, which is curious because she had several series out, technically. But the cool thing is it's going to be called The Return of Purple Man. So if you think about the original Jessica Jones series, which was actually called Alias, that was the one where they based the, also written by Brian Michael Bendis and drawn by Gaydos? I think his name is Gaydos. Michael Gaydos, I think his name is. Amazing paint artist. Amazing. But that was what the series was based off of. Luke Cage is going to 166. Marvel 2-in-1 is coming back. I loved Marvel 2-in-1. That's actually a collection I think I should start recollecting again. Why not? Because, I'm trying to recollect all my old comic books again. And I don't think I got the chance to show you guys. I know it's really weird, but I collected, all my Alpha Flights before, and I'm very happy that I got several key issues again. I also got issue number 2 and 5. 2 and 5 are important Puck issues. But 1, obviously, and 12, this is the one where the Guardian dies. Very happy with that one, and this one's just worth a lot of money because Wolverine's on it, and then a couple of first appearances in these. But also, last night, I may have just gotten one of the premier comics in my collection. Yes, the second ever appearance of Beta Ray Thor. This is actually my second copy because I already had a copy because I'm recollecting my copy my issues, my collection that I lost back in 2011 from a move when I finally moved over to the Middle East to start a teaching career. Yes, I already have a copy of this, so I technically have 2 now, but the first one has a stamp on the front. And I don't care so much about the great collectability on this, but you look, and this is 9.2 out of 10 value, so that's pretty cool. And in case you guys are wondering when I'm going to get issue number 337, the original first appearance of Beta Ray Thor, can you see why I'm a happy guy? So yeah, extremely happy with this. And this is such an important cover, when you think about it. And yeah, somebody actually called me out that I forgot to even mention that the latest issue number 20 of the Mighty Thor had a recreation, since they have the God of War in there, which is actually Volstagg. There's a really cool recreation of this cover on there. And something that I actually mentioned on there, I said, I wonder if they're going to change the title, because this is what the original title kind of looked like without it being destroyed and smashed. It was this weird kind of thing with you see the stuff on the bottom. It was weird, right? And then Beta Ray Thor destroying this, the entire cover, but especially all of this stuff, and then switched to this design instead. So, that was actually... It's Walt Simonson, man. He's the best there is. The absolute, hands down, best there is. And I do want to start reviewing his Ragnarok series pretty soon. I didn't even know he was doing it until about 2 months ago, and I have to go back and find them all. But in the meantime, a whole bunch of new things coming out, including Moon Knight. That's jumping up to issue 188. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, which issue 1 just dropped this month. That's jumping up to 297, issue number 297. So already about to have an anniversary. She-Hulk is bumping up. I hope that goes better, to 159. There's going to be a Spider-Man Deadpool continuation. No complaints. No complaints. I don't read them, but no complaints. Uncanny Avengers is going to continue. All this stuff is just going to continue as it is. I'm really excited. They're talking about Mojo Worldwide Part 1 with X-Men Gold number 13. And this is going to crossover. I just now saw that for the first time, because X-Men Blue number 13 is going to be Mojo Worldwide Part 2. So nice, we're going to have a little crossover stuff going there. I'm excited with X-Men Gold. Because we've got a good writer, we got some decent artists, better than average artists right now, after the debacle with the first issue. But starting with issue 10, I talked to him directly, personally, one-on-one. Ken Lashley is starting on there, so yeah, just look up Ken Lashley, amazing art. Anyway, so that is the Dune, and you can check out the link to this article again at the bottom here. Okay, let me catch up with these, the chat. Sorry, guys, I had to one page at a time. So, let's see. Dick Fillmore, they should restart 616 with all Marvel retcons and newer characters inserted in timeline. I'm curious how you think that they should do that, because why not? To a degree, why not? To a degree. Lewis, Geek Fortress, UPC codes for fancy stores, Midtown Comics, local ones, do the math. I always try to put them in price order for them. One, to be nice, and two, OCD. Also, peanut butter and jelly love. Nice. Dick Fillmore, that's when Zorro was the man. Good point. Good point. Good point. Zorro was important. That when Zorro was the man and the Shadow ruled radio. I wish I could have been around during that time, except that I would have been really hungry, and I'm a big guy who needs a lot of calories. So, and by big I mean tall. The OG hero, BMA Comics. Hey, what's up, brother? Want a bowl, Professor? No, I'm good, Dick. Thank you. Thanks for the offer, though. Just give the MCU Silver Surfer, Galactus, and Doom. Yeah, no, I kind of want the whole thing. They need more. I'm not a huge fan of time travel storylines, but the time travel storylines could really help with retcons, and they need Krang. Even though Kang, they need Kang. Even though Kang started off in the Avengers, since they tied him so closely to Immortus, and Immortus started off in the Fantastic Four properties, Fox owns Immortus and Krang. Yeah. So unfortunately, Kang belongs to them. So there's actually a lot tied into those guys over there. I find the use of uncanny, astonishing, and the mighty to be lame. Dude, man, you can't find uncanny to be lame when it comes to X-Men. Come on, man. To Avengers, sure, I get it, but no, not there. Fox will never use them right. You are correct. Deadpool was cool in the 90s. That's it. He has his moments nowadays. He has his moments. Dick, I will take Shang-Chi. Brother, I am right with you on that one. Bendis is terrible. Sorry. Okay, I'm partially on you with that one. Bendis has amazing storylines, but he's stuck in his own head. And if the guy could just learn how to work well with others, like I don't think that he's a jerk to others. I don't believe that at all. But if he could learn to work well with others and actually have good crossovers, you know what I'm saying? I think that would be a better thing. I think that if he could simply say, okay, Secret Empire is going on right now. I'm going to jump on the Secret Empire storyline also and have some stuff in there. Hey, Nick Spencer, what are you doing with the Secret, Empire? What can I do with what do you want to do with my character? Okay, let's talk this out and let's see what we could do here, and bang, bang, bang like that. I think that would actually be a really good thing if only he were capable of doing that. But he's too busy like, nope, I've got this idea, don't talk to me. And then even when he does his giant-sized crossovers, he still kind of expects people to do, it seems, I don't know what's in his head and I've never talked to him, but it seems like he kind of wants people to do crossovers also involving his storyline. So, Marvel 2-in-1 was dope, agreed. Hudson's should have been in Logan. Yes. Well, Jimmy Hudson, who's technically Jimmy Howlett, is currently in the X-Men Blue. That's good. Got that too. I imagine you're talking about the good stuff over here. The Beta Ray Thors. Those are pretty much must-haves. So we're in each other's club. Time Stone pretty much nullifies Kang. Okay, you know what? I'll give you that. Good point. They got the Time Stone. They got what's his face, Doctor Strange. All right, good point. We don't need Kang. I concede. You are 100% correct on that. Okay, so now let's talk just a little bit about the psychology of heroes, because we kind of got into this. Now, obviously, we can get into Moon Knight. Moon Knight would be just an automatic. He would be a psychologist, wet dream, and worst nightmare, all rolled up into one cute little taco burrito special, right? So, no, let's stay away from him, because that'll be the entire episode. One of the things that came up was I called. Somebody got, I forget who it was. I don't really want to call them out anyways because I don't want any hate. But I do like the positivity that occurs in my channel. I just got turned on to and turned off at the same time to somebody else's channel. I'm not going to mention the guy's channel, who talks about having lots of diversity in comics, but it seems like he's just bad mouthing it the whole time. Look, I understand how annoying social justice warriors can be in comic books, but or just anywhere, online, anywhere. Like, dude, calm down. Maybe we can talk. You know what I'm saying? But right now, you're just a little bit too. Plus, social justice warriors kind of take they take the concept that they have the high road too often. You know what I'm saying? And like, so yes, social justice warrior is an absolute insult. You know what I'm saying? Like the term is an insult. At the same time, a lot of times they're turning around calling people snowflakes. We don't need name calling. We don't need. Do you honestly think anybody's going to listen to you once you start, shooting names at each other? I don't think that helps at all. You know what I'm saying? Like once you call somebody, once you insult someone or call someone a name, derogatory term, whatever, automatically it's just, okay, you know what? You're an ass. And then you just start insulting each other. And then what? We're seeing who's got the best mama joke? Come on. So how about instead we look at this from a more realistic point of view, such as people insulting, what's her name? Riri Williams, okay? The things that this channel talked about as far as Riri is concerned, I saw they said, Giant Size X-Men #1 did diversity perfect. Why can't Marvel do that again? Well, here's the thing, Dick. You're right, and you're right. So kind of like a really good package of correctness. Marvel did say that they have been getting to... I don't remember them using the SJW term, but they did say something to that effect. They said that Marvel nowadays is too much in your face, telling you, like preachy, Back in the day when you would assume certain things, okay? Like for instance, the best point that I can make, or the best example I can make offhand is X-Men #2, the movie, okay? Sometimes Fox does good things, right? X-Men 2 was a good movie. When they had that one thing when Bobby, Iceman, was sitting with his parents and everybody's telling oh, what's going on? I thought you were in this gifted school and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, it's actually for mutants. And it's like, what? You're a mutant? And he shows the power and his brother freaks out and calls, the police and stuff like that. There was the one point where his mom says to Bobby, have you tried not being a mutant? Now, without getting preachy, what exactly does that sound like to you, right? It sounds exactly like when you say, have you tried not being gay? Look, first off, I just got to point out, I'm not gay. I'm not all for gay rights. I'm literally just, you know what? I'm going to say something funny right now, but it's also serious. I boycott gay marriage. You know how I boycott gay marriage? I don't get married to guys. Done. You know what I'm saying? I actually hear my wife laughing in the other room right now. But, saying if you're against gay marriage, don't get married to a gay guy. Don't get married to a guy unless you're a girl. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're a girl, don't get married to a woman. Okay, that's how you boycott gay marriage. That's how you go anti-gay. You don't sit here and try and stop people from being who they are. You know what I'm saying? You don't. If you believe something, cool. That's for you. That's like your opinion, man. Let it be. Let it be. Don't push your religion on me. I won't push my religion on you. Just, you know what I'm saying? Be cool, man. To each their own. Okay? As long as nobody's literally trying to blow something up, then what's the issue? You know what I'm saying? But and gay wasn't a problem until the 50s. You know what else happened in the 50s? McCarthyism. They're very closely associated. Nobody had a problem with anybody being gay until McCarthyism happened. And that's one of the reasons why today Americans still don't like or trust Russians and don't like gay people. So sometimes millennialism is a good thing. It's a really good thing often because they don't have those same hang-ups and wash-ups and things like that, we just don't need that stuff anymore. Just to each their own, man. I don't care. I don't care what people do. You know what I'm saying? It's not my business. It's not my business. You found love over here, have at ye. Have at ye. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stick over here, But even things like interracial marriages. My grandfather was practically ostracized, okay, because he's a Sicilian, 100% Sicilian, and he was ostracized for having an interracial marriage. You know who he married? An Irish woman. That's what interracial was considered back in the day for my grandparents. Keep your opinions to yourself. Let it be. Likewise, Marvel getting a little bit too preachy with actually pointing out all different little individual things like that. Dude, nobody really wants to hear that stuff. Look, the storylines are cool, especially if I agree. If I disagree, all of a sudden, the storyline seems to diminish because I'm just like, I completely disagree with this. So could we go back to the old insinuation thing where X-Men just did, like Dick Fillmore said, put true romance scene now in my head. True romance. I don't... Sapiens are homos. There you go. Good point. True romance. I think you came down on me hard last week because I didn't see a movie that you were talking about. I don't think I saw... Yes, I'm Sicilian. I'm half... So here's the way it works. I'm almost 50% Sicilian, but I do have some Napolitan in me. I have some Dutch, some Cherokee Native American, and a portion, I think about a quarter of me is Irish. So just looking at my genealogy, yeah, so I'm a mutt. I'm all over the place. Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper scene. No, I didn't see True Romance. Oh, jeez. Dick Fillmore's going to beat the crap out of me when he sees me one of these days. Literally, I'm going to be at a comic convention just walking around looking, hey, press pass and everything. He's going to be like, hey, Professor Bill, who are you? Oh, Dick Fillmore, how you doing? Yeah, that's going to be because I haven't seen any of the movies he's talking about. I'm sorry, I'm not huge on movies anymore. Yep. Just so everybody in the live chat knows, it was just confirmed I'm going to get a hit in the face. Just so, okay, anyway. So... Yes, I do think that we should go back to that. But at the same time, some of the hate that is coming out there is not a social justice warrior thing. Some of it does come off as actual racism to me. Case in point. If you've got a different reason other than what I'm naming right now for not liking Riri Williams, cool. But these specific reasons, I really want you to think about this, okay? Currently, the argument is that Riri Williams is an upstart who... has no backstory and is bland and pointless, and she stole an Iron Man armor and, yeah, is Iron Man now. Okay, here's the deal. Here's what really happened. First off, Riri Williams made her own Iron Man armor. Tony Stark himself came as an AI, mailed himself to her doorstep, you know what I'm saying, to be her AI for a better suit, all right, to create a better suit, so they worked together on making a better suit of armor. What do you call it? Both of them together, like, she has an amazing, tragic backstory. Two stepfathers who were both taken from her and her best friend, taken for her right in front of her eyes. I mean, yeah, and yet still stays positive. She's a genius. They just showed recently that she's able to watch, like, let's say, MSNBC over here and Fox News over here, watch them both, understand them both, and not have an opinion, not formulate an opinion based on that. I can sympathize with that in many regards, okay? Look, not to be a total jerk here, but calling Fox News is kind of silly because most of it is not news, okay? Granted, there's a lot of, left-wing stuff out there that's not news either. It's just talking points, whatever, but a lot of the stuff isn't actual news. They're not telling us anything new. They're just telling us things that they want us to focus on and averting certain other things. Granted, currently all news seems to act like that lately because all of the news, back in the 50s, there used to be 50 different news channels. Count them, 50 news outlets, okay? Babe, it's getting kind of loud in there. I hate that I've got to say stuff like that, but anyway, so there used to be 50 news outlets. Currently, there are 6. 2017, there are 6 news outlets. Oh, there's a bunch of different newspapers, radio, all these different things like that, but 6 corporations total, umbrella corporations, and we know anything called umbrella corporation is an evil thing. That's how you get zombies. And they're making zombies. These 6 umbrella corporations are making zombies by giving us essentially the same news, just different sides of the same view. So taking a viewpoint on this is almost pointless because why? When they're all giving you the same thing. Corporations own the news currently. Are corporations going to tell you about how where the military-industrial war machine is larger than it's ever been, including during World War II? I mean, no, they're not going to tell you something like that. So, yeah, forming opinions based on what these people are telling, like cable news outlets, no. I personally find that looking on the internet and looking at many many different sources on the internet is a good idea. And if you're only looking at sources on the internet and sticking with sources on the internet with internet sources that you agree with, I can assure you, you're not learning anything new. Confirmation of what you already believe is a good portion of the problem in the world today. Like, I know that I just turned really preachy on this stuff, sorry, but finding counterpoints to your own opinions is a great way to grow as a human being. A great way to grow. And if you're just looking for confirmation of what you already believe, then you might very well be an anti-vaxxer also. I'm just putting that out there, okay? You might also believe that climate change is not real. You might believe lots of different things that scientists agree with wholly, firmly, and without dispute. So, yeah. Listen, evolution is real. It doesn't have to dispute your religion. It genuinely does not have to dispute your religion or my religion or anybody's religion. It doesn't have to. It's just, it is what it is. No, we did not come from monkeys. We had a common ancestor. If you don't believe it, open your eyes and look. Yes, we did, right? But there are nice ways of saying it, and then there are stuffed in your face ways of saying it, like, your religion sucks, evolution is real, and like, that's not the way to do things. So that's the way that I feel that Marvel Comics has been lately, and they've addressed it. They've addressed it, okay? Besides that one marketing guy who's the worst public relations officer I've ever seen, and I've worked in public relations, what do you call overseas, in fact, which you really have to be careful. You're talking about taking cultural sensitivity to the extreme, because I can't count, think about it. I can't take my American values and go into Saudi Arabia, okay, or Egypt, and try and market a product based on the things I already know. I have to take cultural sensitivity into account in a major way. Can't just jump in there like a bull in a china shop. Not worth it. Not worth it. I'm never going to sell anything. I'm never going to market the companies I'm working for. Okay. Riri is used as retarded by millennials, unfortunately. You're so right. I take my slap back. Thank you. Thank you, Dick. Let's see. Wolf Warner. Giant X-Men was not perfect diversity. No African Americans on a team created in the 1960s. Really? Agreed. Storm is actually an African immigrant. Yes, she is, but they were, the parents were ambassadors for Kenya. For Kenya, if I remember, I believe it was for Kenya. The Ultimate X-Men, they changed it to Egypt. Anyway, I don't care about the Ultimate X-Men right now. What do you call it? Yeah, they, here's something. Wolf Warner, yeah, you're totally right on that. There were African Americans in there. They decided to put an actual African in there, which I guess it made things easier. Plus, when you just have, with all due respect, when you just have a bunch of white guys sitting around doing stuff, it's cultural appropriation. No, I don't think it's quite to that level, but I think that, like, inclusion. If you want diversity, you have to have inclusion, right? If you want to sell to an African American audience, you should probably consider having actual African American. Like, for instance, I'm going to say one name: Ta-Nehisi Coates. All right, currently writing Black Panther. The crew wrote co-wrote Black Panther and the World of Wakanda. That guy right there, perfect. I mean, there are other examples also. There are, but that guy right there, I think that answers all of your questions. You want, like, the guy sits there and writes he draws his own maps. He makes his own words for the Wakandan language and things like Bernie. Do you know the Bernin is a word they use for city? All right, in Arabic that would be Medina. So when you have like every single city in Saudi Arabia or most of the Middle East that's Arabic speakers, it's Medina al something. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they're going to call it, it means the city of this, the city of that. Here you have Bernin al, and all of the names of the cities are named after former Black Panthers. How many people would have thought of that? All right. Ta-Nehisi Coates thought of that, and that is genius. At the same time of being genius, besides calling him a genius, he's also an African American who, he studies this stuff. This is what he does. It's not just, filling in the color of a character darker than, average. No, it's actually making an African American, or in this case, an African character, and that's a huge difference. So diversity demands inclusion, and that's crucial. That's crucial. You had a bunch of what do you call it? Like, I'm not trying to say this as a rude way, but you had a bunch of Jewish people like what do you call it? Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, people who I love. Thank you for making all the comics that I love, drawing the Magia, right, and writing for the Magia. As a Sicilian, I do have mafia relations in my past. You know what I'm saying? New Jersey is actually known for family members that are distantly related to me. I went for to get my fingerprints taken to be a school teacher in New Jersey, and the first time I've gone several times, and the first time I went, there was a police officer there waiting for me because of my last name and the association that it comes with. Look, I get it. It's the way it is. I was profiled. Big deal. You know what I'm saying? It was literally only one time. It wasn't every time. It wasn't stopping me on the street and things like that. Believe me, I'm not making any comparisons to stop and frisk, but that was necessary. Here's the thing. Why don't we have actual Sicilians writing about the Magia? Because they're obviously supposed to be the mafia, right? I think that would actually make things a little bit, and when you have somebody like John Romita, jumping on that, that's when all of a sudden the stories got really good. I mean, right or wrong, go back and check out the stories. The Magia suddenly became very interesting because you actually had Italians who know something about this, not just watch The Godfather, you know what I'm saying, and we're going to base it off of that, and Joe Pesci and the Goodfellas. No. So diversity demands inclusion, and that's important. And being preachy about it is not the way to do it. It's simply not. You know what I'm saying? Dick Fillmore, grow cannabis and poverty. I do not partake in anything like that. Literally, I'm one of those nerds who forget about Bill Clinton with the whole I don't inhale, or I've tried it, but I've never inhaled. No, I've smelt it. I don't recognize it. It's totally legal in Canada. I have smelt it here, and my wife has pointed out, no, that's actually a smell of weed because she's Canadian. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't think that it's a bad thing. I do know the history of such. I know that our founding fathers demanded, because I'm still American, so our founding fathers said, grow hemp. It is going to, boom the economy. You'll always be good with hemp and whatnot. Man, the guy might as well have been, like, that was George Washington who said that. Guy might as well have been Nostradamus. Like, that was a good prediction, And when push comes to shove, our economy is growing in those areas like that, like Colorado and Washington and the such. And, it's better than the opioids that the pharmaceutical companies are putting out for us, right? I mean, like, no negative. The only negative side effect is that you get high, but you can also take out the PHC, whatever it's called. I just embarrassed myself on Monday's live Marvel game that I run for the guys on Nerdicy on YouTube, because I talked about how I never did that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yes, I do believe that. That marijuana, cannabis, whatever, is a good thing. I do believe it's a good thing. Even though I don't use it, I might consider one day using the drops under the tongue of the stuff that doesn't have the high ingredient. I don't like the idea of getting high or anything like that. I don't. I don't have any problem with anybody who does. Again, it's not my business. See, again, that's one of my points that I was making earlier. I'm not interested in getting high off of any kind of drugs. But I'm not going to berate somebody for wanting to. I'm not going to berate someone for being addicted even to certain other drugs. But especially when you're talking about cannabis, name one person in the history of forever who died from smoking weed. You can't. Never happened. Right? Meanwhile, alcohol kills people all the time. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. Like, if somebody wants to do stuff like that, but you look at all the times that alcohol has killed people, or people have been killed because of drunk drivers and things like that. Like, that's a huge deal. But something like cannabis, name somebody who's ever died, directly or indirectly, from cannabis. It's never happened. The fatalities are zero. So how, and yet still America considers cannabis the number one most dangerous drug because it's a gateway drug. No, it's not. No, it's not. Proven. And the Nixon administration acknowledged and admitted. The Nixon administration acknowledged and admitted that the only reason why they started that whole war against drugs thing, talking about cannabis and things like that, is because there's an extra way of putting certain, I'm going to use the term, undesirables in prison. You figure out what that meant. We're talking about diversity and inclusion. Okay, should I be offended only one tribe of Native Americans were represented? Where was only one? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where you are. Aren't African Americans descended from Africans? Yeah. Yes, they are. What do you call it? But there was a lot of mixing also, and obviously the culture is hugely different. It was an international team. I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, there was a huge eventually more people got involved in comics. The reason why only Jewish people ever did comics in the first place, believe it or not, is because they were so ridiculously stereotyped. Jewish people weren't allowed to be in, like, if you wanted to write novels and things like that, Jewish people weren't welcome to do that. You know, if you were Jewish and you wanted to be in radio and things like that, you weren't welcome. All right, so many different outlets. Jewish people were literally like, need not apply. All right, and believe me, they didn't use politically correct terms or just the desired term of Jewish. No, they used many other derogatory terms. If you wonder why the Anti-Defamation League is such a big deal today, blame literally our ancestors, because that's why. The only reason why so many Jewish people came to comic books is because that was allowed, because that was considered kiddie that nobody else would be interested in looking into. And look at what they turned around and made it into, right? So literally, you know, I know there's it's kind of funny, it's kind of weird, but you know, like as a veteran, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I haven't hugged a vet today. It's like, whoa, man, go find somebody else, find your dad, somebody. You know what I'm saying? No thanks. That's not what I'm here for. But literally, if you're a comic book fan, have you hugged a Jewish person today? I know it's really goofy, but whatever. Seriously, man, like it is an international team. All right, it's an international team. Wolverine from Canada, Kurt from Germany, Sunfire from Japan, Storm from Africa, Piotr from Russia. Yeah, it was an international team. Oh, and I think I know what you mean. Yes, James Proudstar was actually Navajo, if I remember correctly. I believe he was Navajo. Yep. Professor X actually wound up getting a little bit racist on him one time. Oh, so I guess it's true that the native people aren't as proud as we thought because you're afraid to join. He's like, oh, I'm going to, instead of kicking your wheelchair-bound bald butt, I'm going to join the team anyway. Nah, come on, man. That was a silly way to get him to join. But Apache, he was Apache. Thank you. He was Apache. Okay, cannabis created the term legal tender and is a clean fuel source. I did not know that. Healthy food and non-toxic building materials that are strong as steel. I did not know that. Anyway, so boom shakalaka, I'm all caught up. Okay, so anyway, I completely diverted from psychology, didn't I? Okay, anyway, here's the thing. Back to the whole Riri Williams thing right away. Riri Williams did none of those things that she was blamed for. Rather, I could tell you somebody who did do all those things. Also an Iron Man. Yeah, Dr. Doom, the infamous Iron Man. He walked up. We don't have his full backstory, why he decided to become a good guy. So his backstory is rather bland right now, currently. It's kind of bland. We don't know why he switched. He's still Dr. Doom. The only reason why people love Dr. Doom is because he's Dr. Frickin' Doom. But no real backstory why he switched. It wasn't the incursion, okay? That was taken out of the equation. And we have an inkling of an idea because he didn't want to be a god anymore. But can we have a little bit more backstory in that? Maybe, like the pivotal turning point moment. On top of that, he actually did steal an Iron Man suit. He didn't create his own. He walked into Tony Stark's lab. Tony Stark said, no, go away, do not be Iron Man, stop being Iron Man, multiple times, and he stole an Iron Man suit and said, I'm going to do it anyway. So this is why I say that sometimes it is a bit of racism. If those reasons why I just said, because you think that Riri stole Iron Man's suit and his legacy and things like that, no, Dr. Doom did that. So maybe consider double checking what you say. And I don't want wars and battle and hate speech on my channel. I like to have a nice, happy community. You know what I'm saying? Where people can have discussions without insulting people. And have completely differing opinions. Seriously, you could argue this point, but without insults. Like, I just don't see the purpose in that. I genuinely don't. Whatever. Like, just bye. I'll block you off the channel. I've blocked 2 people off the channel so far because I don't have time for that. You know what I'm saying? Who does? So, yeah. the same things that some of these people are blaming Riri Williams for are actually things that they're blaming their hero, Doctor Doom, for. I love Doctor Doom, but I know exactly what he did in the comics because I'm reading and reviewing both comics. So maybe a little bit of fair play? I don't know. That's just me. In the interim, I will say that both characters are extremely interesting, and I love watching them both. I love reading them both. Look, if you don't want to read a comic book, then don't read a comic book, but don't make up false narratives as to why you're not reading it, all right? Either say the truth or don't talk at all and just simply say, I'm not interested in reading this. Nobody can reach into your pocket and force you to pay for a comic book that you don't want to read, or a story that you don't want to read, or watch a movie you don't want to watch, or anything to that effect, right? It's all on you. But just don't make a false narrative. Don't try and change the story, all right? Don't do that. Be honest. But anyway, somebody had mentioned block the idiots, right? Henry Ford built a hemp car in the 1920s. Your homework. Okay, I actually listened to the audiobook of the biography of Henry Ford, and I don't remember that. I'm not saying I dispute it. I don't dispute that at all. But I know he didn't want to do a race, and like he wound up doing the race anyways because he had to, because that's the only way to get forward. And there was a lot of really good story there. Plus he was a total jerk, but still innovative and all that stuff. I remember all that stuff, but I don't remember him building a hemp car. Maybe it just wasn't in the biography. Maybe I wasn't paying attention because I always do things while I'm reading or listening to audiobooks. Anyway, cool. Yeah, I'll check that out. In the meantime, so Peter Parker. I called Peter Parker immature in my in issue number 29 because, well, go back and just listen to it to understand why. And I do believe he's immature. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I like Peter Parker. I like Peter Parker just the way he is. I like that he's immature. You know what I'm saying? Even though he is older. And I do believe that he is. I mean, let's just be realistic for a minute. It's one of the reasons why we loved him in the first place. He was a kid, right? He was like, what, a 15-year-old kid, all right? And all of a sudden he came up, and the Marvel sliding time scale, the idea they even got him to grow up and get married and all that stuff is kind of insane to me, but whatever, man, whatever, I get it. So they did that, and now they got him unmarried. Nobody likes the way that he got unmarried, whatever. Even Joe Quesada can make a single mistake. Unfortunately, that one single mistake, people hate him for it, and they don't see all the other good things that he's done. Whatever. So you have, besides the One More Day stuff, so you have Peter Parker, who never really grew up. He insults people. I know the idea that it's tactically sound. Saying it's tactically sound is one thing, but because it throws the enemy off, it gets them mad, it makes them, expose themselves and make mistakes. But married to MJ, do you think we'll see a 30-year-old Peter again? Yes. Yes, I do think that we'll see a 30-year-old Peter again. And why? Because of Miles Morales. Because Miles can be a version of the old Peter. Miles is smarter and more mature than Peter Parker was. And in some ways, Peter is more mature than Miles is now, but not by much. Miles is able to ask people for help, right? Which Peter was never able to do. He always kept the burden on himself, but it's funny, the first time that I really thought about how immature and especially ineffective Peter Parker was during Dan Slott's run. I know people hate Dan Slott right now. I don't. I like Dan Slott's work. But when Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock, when he took over his body, and he's like, how does this guy get anything done patrolling the streets at night? And you'll have Daredevil, who will patrol Hell's Kitchen, which is approximately 4 city blocks, right? It's about 4 city blocks. You could patrol that and be cool. Plus, he could just sit at home and just listen. He's extremely effective, all right? He only takes this small section and patrols that. You got somebody like Moon Knight, he patrols his thing. Danny Rand is an interesting character. Iron Fist. He, as the owner of Rand Industries, Rand International, he bought several buildings in his vicinity that he can jump from rooftop to rooftop at. They're about equal level, and they're close enough together that he can actually jump to each of them because he doesn't have any movement abilities. So, boom. So he can use his chi to increase his jump, but that's really it. So, bang. So he could patrol those areas at that time. So, that's effective. Lots of characters are very effective in that regard. All right? Spider-Man patrols all of New York City. All of New York City. Okay, maybe not Maybe not Long Island and Staten Island as much, but he is out there once in a while. He patrols the 4 main boroughs of New York, all right? And, like, on spider webs, I mean, that's not effective at all. He's all over the place, and he's nowhere at the same time. So he's never getting any sleep. He's always late for everything he does. Like, the guy's more late than the Flash. And if you're reading the Flash comics, you know that's just silly for him to be late in the first place. At the same time, yeah, Peter Parker, man, like, ruins his social life. Finding Mary Jane was the luckiest thing in the world, because she was just always, go get him, Tiger, and stuff like that. She was okay with him being completely ineffective in every single thing that he did. Like, being one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe, having incredible skills in chemistry, and yet never finishing his degree, so he's never able to make money on that. He's still shooting newspapers for J. Jonah Jameson. Just not cool. True mate, what's up, man? I like the immaturity of the character. It's part of the Spider-Man character. Exactly. He's really smart, but by acting this way, it's an advantage socially and in combat. You are 100% correct. It's extremely effective. I like the concept of him buying his own parkour building top route. Right? Him and Captain America and Nightcrawler. I want to see those 3 going at it with each other. That, I think, would be cool. What do you call it? So, yeah, you have this character who could be very effective. Instead, Doc Ock comes along, takes over Peter Parker's body. He's like, okay, first off, patrolling the streets is ridiculous. How about this? I'm going to make these little spider bots. Eventually Octobots, but he made little spider bots. Do I still have it around here? I have a little toy that I'm planning on painting to make into a little spider bot, because I love Superior Spider-Man. But, yeah, he makes the little spider bots. Now, I know, sans the idea that Green Goblin found a way to get around it, okay, it was still a fantastic, awesome idea, all right? So that, and there was an immediate response until he got there, and he can call other people to go and handle the situation also. That was a genius idea. While he has all this time in his hand, he can make a relationship, okay? He realized it would be weird to do it with MJ, so he went over and he fell in love with Anna Maria Marcone. Awesome. I love that storyline also. I really hope to see these 2 together. I don't get into the soap opera stuff, but this I get into. I love that concept of these 2 getting with each other, because they're awesome for each other. On top of that, he's able to get his degree. By finishing his degree, he is now Dr. Peter Parker. That helped Peter a whole lot. And he was able to prove himself worthy in the field that he was working in, continue at Horizon Labs, making it something better, Parker Industries. Boom! He's now super rich, and look at all the wonderful things he can do. What does Parker do with this? Now, I understand the idea of the whole Goblin Bomb and things like that were happening earlier on in Spider-Man, from Spider-Man issues number 25 to 28. I get it. But that wasn't an immediate threat. What's his name? Norman Osborn, if you were reading or at least following along with my reviews, wasn't planning on detonating that Goblin Bomb to turn everybody in Symkaria, Silver Sable's home country, into goblin puppets anytime soon. That was going to be much later on, right? Peter Parker, Spider-Man, advanced that storyline. So, invading the country and funding the invasion of a country, one, they lost S.h.i.e.L.D. as their major contributors. So that's a huge hit in the pocketbook. 2, why'd they get into bed with S.h.i.e.L.D. in the first place? Even Tony Stark, dumb Tony Stark, genius dumb Tony Stark, who was also extremely immature, come on, understood eventually, getting in bed with the military-industrial complex is not such a good, PR thing for me. Like, it's not good. I shouldn't do that. No. So, webware, fixing webware, doing things like that would have been better in the short term and the long game. Like, if you're playing the long game, not getting in bed with an international organization like S.h.i.e.L.D. would have been a good idea. Let them get their tech from Hammer Industries if they want, or Roxxon, or any place. Make their own freaking team. Why not? Like, technically they own AIM, right? Hello. They don't need to be in bed with Parker Industries making Spider-Mobiles. So, yes, that's a real thing. Anyway, he never should have gotten involved in that in the first place. That was immature. That was dumb, right? And it was kind of immoral. I never understood why he did it in the first place, but that's Peter Parker, right? And now he lost that contract, and now people are like, a company actually just invaded another country. And even though Silver Sable is saying, no, it's a good thing, she's technically the usurper. How do you listen to the usurper? Are we going to listen to Manuel Noriega? You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes, what do you call it? Walmart helped Manuel Noriega. This didn't happen. This did not happen, but I'm saying as an example, all right? I don't want the largest company in the freaking world coming at me, all right? But like, let's say if Walmart even existed during the time, they didn't, when Manuel Noriega came to power, what if Walmart would have helped take over Panama? Right? That would have been a huge note. Like, what? That's insane. Nobody can even imagine such a stupid move like that. Yet Parker does that. Now, there are other ways to do this. I could think of dozens, plural, dozens of other ways to help Symkaria. That was not the way. That was not the way. A direct invasion. Like, dude. But that's the kind of thing that I could imagine Peter Parker doing. Look, if you want to turn around and say it's bad writing, okay, it's bad writing. But the writing is that Peter Parker is immature. But Peter Parker has always been immature. Always been immature. It's one of the things that we liked about the character. It's just saying immature is one of those things that, because I'd mentioned it for a long time, and then just a month ago, Dan Slott actually mentioned also. Somebody asked, it wasn't me, Dan Slott asked, what do you think his emotional maturity is? It's like, oh, well, he's an absolute genius, but as far as his emotional IQ, he's got the EQ of about a 15-year-old. And wow, he actually gave him a 15-year-old. I would have said a 12-year-old, because I could almost imagine the insults that he slings at people, Peter Parker slings at people. I could seriously imagine sitting down playing Xbox, having I've never played Xbox with the live thing and whatnot, but I know plenty of people. Obviously, everybody knows somebody, or you are one of the people who do that, who have the things there and just like playing Halo, or that's how long ago I've played video games on Xbox or anything like that. And playing Halo and some 12-year-olds on the mic. That's right, I just killed you. I'm gonna pwn your mom after this. And like, dude, really? Really? I can imagine Peter Parker on the other end, talking that trash, beating you up. So maybe it's just me. BMA Comics. I gotta go. See you guys later. Just as we got back to the psychology of the characters, I'll just have to catch the rest on the replay. All right, man. If you do check this out on the replay, true, mate. Hammer Industries. Haha. BMA Comics, I am hoping one of these days to find something that we could both talk about and do a joint live chat. I would actually love to do that. Guys, seriously, go check out BMA Comics. BMA Comics Con. 3 different words. BMA Comics Con on YouTube. I love watching his reviews. I think he's got a great voice. At the very least, if I could only say one thing about him, he's got a great voice for doing what we do, discussing comic books and things like that. But, speaking of one of the ways that I differentiate, I have the Tinkerer. All right, there are going to be 3 villains in the Marvel Universe, the MCU Spider-Man Homecoming that's coming out on Friday, Thursday night, Friday. What do you call? Oh, and I've got something else to talk about in that too. 3 characters coming out. It's going to be the Shocker. Anyway, it's going to be the Shocker, it's going to be the Vulture, and it's going to be the Tinkerer, often called the Terrible Tinkerer, okay? I already did Explained in a Minute for Shocker and Vulture. I just completed a Tinkerer Explained in a Minute. All I have to do is do the thumbnail for it. I'm going to make the thumbnail for it after I finish this live chat, and then I'm going to, boom, put that up really quick. Dill Fillmore, yes, awesome. Dave from Nerdicus Dave, actually made a comment yesterday, which I thought was really funny. I had to, literally just slap my hands on the table and laugh, because on a slightly personal note, his son is in an engineering high school and just graduated, and that's a really big deal. That's awesome. And somebody, Dave's brother Ryan had just commented on it and said, wow, I'm so proud of him. He's like, yeah, but I'm watching Professor Bill's Explained in a Minute series, and I'm afraid that now with an engineering degree, he's going to wind up becoming a Spider-Man villain. I just thought that's absolutely perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I used to be an electrical engineer for into 8 years, a little over 8 years and whatnot, and I'm not a Spider-Man villain. Anyway, so Lewis and I are going to take over the freaking Marvel Universe one of these days. Anyway, the Vulture and Shocker are more than mainstream. Interested to hear about the Tinker? Yes. The Tinker is actually really cool. I think you're going to like it. On top of that, Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out on the 7th. I will see it either on the 7th or I will see it on the 8th. The 8th is my birthday. That's right, guys. Old man Professor Bill is turning 42 years old. Yes, like I said, old man. Turning 42. The 8th is going to be my birthday. I am hoping to get to 1K subscribers by then. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're already subscribed. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But what I'm saying is, that is my goal. I'm going to try and do as much as I can during the course of the next week. So you're going to probably see a whole bunch of current, relevant things, whatever, that I'm going to be trying to push out as much as I can. Hopefully they're not going to be... I still got so many more comics to put out. Dick Fillmore's 39. Brother, what's up, man? Yep, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Don't be scared at 40. When you start to get a couple of those... I don't have any grays in my hair, believe it or not. No hair loss, thank God. No grays in my hair, you know what I'm saying? But I got grays in my beard, and I like the grays in my beard. It's, like, you know, I've got a fairly young face. 40 in August. Cool. So, I look forward to as many grays as possible to get that dignified look so that I get taken more seriously, because nobody takes seriously a guy who does a comic book channel. I'm just saying. 26 in 7 days. It's doable. Oh, yeah, exactly. 26 more, 24 more, right? What am I currently sitting? I thought I was sitting at, did I lose 2 subscribers? Anyway, whatever. Regardless, yes, I'm hoping for approximately 25 by that time. So, yes, that would actually be the coolest birthday present ever, because I don't really celebrate my birthday. Granted, it is my wife who bought me my my comics here. So, so I did wind up getting a birthday present regardless. But anyway, so yes, I'm really looking forward to getting 1,000 subs. I think that whether I get 1,000 subs or not, I think that next live chat I am going to try and put out a, because for my 500 subs I put out a free comic, free digital comic. So here's what I'm going to do. Those of you guys who are watching this now or going to watch it later, check this out. Make sure you you don't really have to download it, but the Marvel app that you have to for downloading digital comics. Marvel Unlimited or the Marvel app, whatever device you're going to be using. Make sure you do a subscriber thing to that, whatever. You don't have to pay for it to get a username. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to do a monthly fee or anything like that to do that. But you can get free comics once in a while. Just last week, right after, I think, my live chat last week, they had a thing where they had the first 8 issues of, like, you're talking about issue number 1 of all of the current X-Men series out. So X-Men Blue and Gold, Iceman, Jean Grey, Cable, all of those issue number 1s were available for 2 days, the 26th and 27th, if I remember correctly, of June, for free. All 8 issues. They did something else recently where there was a free issue. They'll do free issues once in a while. That is how you do that. I was sub 237, I think. I always like to remember which sub number I am for the places I subscribe to, like the big channels. Cool. Yeah, I know you were there for a while. What do you call it? But and I always try to remember, like, anybody who comments a lot on my channels or comes to my live chats, it's pretty easy to remember your guys' name. And yeah, I will generally remember you forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are even some people who I think who have disappeared for a little while that if they came back, I would totally remember them. It actually happened with one guy who's big on my Batman. He's actually the guy who started me doing the Batman stuff. But because I didn't know if anybody was interested in actually seeing all of the Batman comics, but this guy says, yeah, review all of the Batman comics. Anyway, do the Marvel app, because I will try and have a couple of the digital comics codes that during the course of the live chat next Saturday I will absolutely put up. And if Lewis does not have a barbecue to go to, or a veterinarian appointment to go to, or some life thing to go to, then hopefully he will be on the live chat also. I love having Lewis on. Hopefully I can actually get his face live on here, not just an image. But yeah, I really like having the interaction between Lewis and I. Anyway, regardless, we'll see what's up. So yeah, as far as the psychology of characters, let me just end it with the idea that there are actually books out there. The psychology of Iron Man, the psychology of Spider-Man, the psychology of Batman, which is a very interesting one. And I actually had a ninth grade reading teacher who got into the psychology of Batman with me, and I just thought this is the coolest teacher ever. My coolest English teacher I've ever had. Mr. Williams from Asbury Park High School. You are the man. He was a funny guy. Anyway, what do you call it? So a flood of memories just coming back, all the funny interactions that we had. Anyway, what you call it? So you have the psychology of the Avengers. I think they had the psychology of Justice League. I don't know if they're still making the psychology of books, but they were good. I might actually consider going back and reading a couple of ones that I didn't read before, but either way, bang. Yes, I love the psychology of our heroes. Why do we like the heroes that we like? I've quoted before in a podcast the psychology of the readers of novels and comic books. Why all of a sudden a character like Harry Potter was so amazing when we live in a world currently where Wolverine and the Punisher and Batman and so many vigilante type characters are the big deal nowadays, where characters have lost their innocence, you know what I'm saying? And just, Batman doesn't kill, but unless he's in a DC Cinematic Universe movie. But aside from that, like the Punisher and Wolverine who will kill. And it's like, oh, we need heroes who will kill, and Lewis and I just talked about recently, a couple podcasts ago, Spider-Man, Superman versus the Elite, that animated movie, where it's based on the comic books, where Manchester Black, who was just in a recent storyline in Action Comics, Manchester Black and the Elite said, Superman, you're out of date because you won't kill people. And that also goes back to Magog from Kingdom Come, one of the greatest DC storylines ever. Boom. How the Justice League were considered out of date because they won't kill, So in this world, how Harry Potter suddenly became so popular even though he won't kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, his big deal. We knew, even though there were a whole bunch of people disguised, we knew that you were the actual Harry Potter. Why? Because you used the Expelliarmus charm to disarm a wand as opposed to a kill or a painful attack. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how in book 6, how he did use that painful charm, didn't realize how bad it was. It was actually Snape's old spell, from the Half-Blooded Prince. And it was like, oh my God, it was such a big deal that he actually did that, and nobody would have suspected that Potter, of all people, would do an evil, it would do a curse, you know what I'm saying, because he just doesn't do that. So the psychology of different characters, to me, I find to be some of the most fascinating things, because it also tells us a lot about ourselves. Why do we like these certain characters that we follow? Because everybody's got their favorite. Why is this character your favorite? You know what I'm saying? If you love Spider-Man, that doesn't mean that you're immature, by the way, just because I call Spider-Man mature. No, rather, you have a more innocent view of the world. The idea that people don't have to be killed. They can just be webbed up and saved for the police, and you hope that the justice system will work and things like that. You're a little bit more sardonic if you're a Punisher fan, you know what I'm saying? And just like depending on who, and I guess Batman would be that happy median, in between, do you love Superman? Do you love the idea that I'm not worried about people hurting me for the most part? I'm more worried about keeping my life in order, you know what I'm saying? And all the great storylines that he has and trying to do right because he genuinely has great powers, some of the greatest powers, you know what I'm saying? Or do you like the Captain America character who's the exact same but also has to deal with getting hurt? You know what I'm saying? Like, he needs that shield, you know what I'm saying? That gives him his his Superman is the shield, so to speak. So, like, why do you love the characters that you like? And I would actually like to see some comments below, not just in the chat. I actually want a lot of people to, the Cruciatus Curse, thank you. Oh, no, the Cruciatus Curse was different. Oh, no, actually, he did do that in the 5th book, didn't he? He actually did that, you're right. Good point, Truemate. He did the Cruciatus Curse towards Helena Bonham Carter. What the heck was her name in the books? I know that my wife is sleeping right now, otherwise she would yell from the other room what it was, because she's an even bigger Harry Potter fan than I am. But Bellatrix Lestrange, that's what it is. And what do you call it? She, and she's like, it didn't work because you don't really believe it. And yeah, it's true. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have the heart, the evil will, the ill intent to actually try and kill her, even though she just got finished killing Sirius Black. Spoilers. But anyway, yeah, all of that stuff. Superman vs. the Elite was such a good film, such a good ending. Yes, yeah, it really was. Be good lead up to Infinity War. I'm reading everything backwards and I shouldn't. Do a Thanos psychology. Okay, you know what? Why not? Why not? From Thanos Quest. You know what? This is not the first time I've been asked to do the entire Thanos Quest up until Infinity Gauntlet. Why the hell wouldn't I do it? Thanos. I can't do a Thanos Explained in a minute, can I? If I can pull that off, I will. But I'm going to need to do a longer thing on that also. Just like I did Nubia Explained in a minute, and then I did like a half an hour explanation of the first 3 issues of her appearance. I think I'll do something like that. How about that? I'll do a Thanos Explained in a minute, and then I'll do... Okay, you know what, Dick? Good suggestion. Really good suggestion. Read up on the backstory of Thanos a bit ago. It's rather interesting. Red... I love the word red. Like, I'm not a linguist, but my wife and I used to both be English teachers. She's actually got the equivalent of a master's degree in teaching English. I've got whatever. I've just got a certificate in teaching English as a foreign language. Anyway, but we both love the idea of discussing English and terms and things like all the time. And red is an interesting word because it's both. You know, it's read and read. Very few words in the English language that do that. It's a word that you have to have in context, not by itself. Great insight into why he won't claim ultimate victory. Yes, exactly. And like the end of and the idea that Warlock is the yin to his yang. Exactly. That really would be good. Plus, I want to do his, like, when he had the like, you know what? Not just the idea of comparing him to Darkseid, but I guess comparing him to Doctor Doom might actually be interesting, right? Because they both have a very similar issue going on. But good lead up to Infinity Gauntlet War. Yes, exactly. Perfectly agree. Really good suggestions. Okay, so Dick Fillmore, True Mate. Hopefully I will not forget to... I'm actually saying your names now because so I can go back to the end of this podcast and remember to thank you guys when I actually do the long one. I think that's what I'll actually do. I'm going to try and do a longer history of Thanos and his psychology. That's actually a really freaking great point. This is going to take easily an hour because I'm going to have to go into his backstory also. Okay, Thanos of Titan. Expect it. All right, guys. In the meantime, I hope that you guys enjoyed this particular podcast, all of them. I hope to see you next week. And let me just get this thing ready to cancel right now. Thanos was Darkseid's replacement in 616 when Kirby took over. Yes, Dick Fillmore, you're 100% right. He was the answer to Darkseid because he was awesome. He wasn't a great response because, like, he just appeared in Iron Man and had the Blood Brothers there. The Brothers Blood? No, the Blood Brothers. Whatever. Anyways, and he had the Thanos helicopter. Oh, God. Like, literally, like the Riddler's helicopter and the Joker copter. No, it's more like the Riddler's helicopter. I'm still remembering Arkham Asylum in Hell, also written by Dan Slott. I did a review of all 6 issues of that, the story of Arkham Asylum, that also had a little bit of Batman and a little bit of the Demon Etrigan in it. So, what do you call it? But yeah, that was funny. The Riddler actually, we saw the history of the Riddler copter. He asked Great White Shark, who made his debut in the first issue of Arkham Asylum in Hell. And he's like, wait, so you can get me a helicopter with my name on the side? Yeah, I think I could do that. Or with a big question mark on the side. So the Thanos copter. That was the 70s. Laugh out loud. Cocaine is a drug. Dave Chappelle. He will never die. Not in our minds. Not in our hearts. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Enough James Brown moments. Not James Brown. That wasn't supposed to be James Brown. Rick James. That's enough Rick James moments. All right, guys. Professor Bell, Comic Book University.